out there. First, thanks for coming out. I want to thank Councilman Morrison not only for his presence here today, but for his working with us over the years, and it has been over the years for us to get to this point. This, quite frankly, is much more than a property issue. Certainly in the United States, property rights are protected, but there comes a point in time in which property rights have to give way to what's the best welfare of the entire community. None of us can use our private property in a way that works offense or harm to others, and that's precisely what we're dealing with here. This is a justice issue. We've gone through the courts and worked it all the way through the courts, and as I always say, this is much more than abandoned blighted houses. These very locations serve as havens for crime, for drug dealing, for prostitution, for storing stolen property, and it's just it's a threat on many fronts. So this is much more than removing a physical structure. We all have a responsibility to each other, regardless of private property rights. We live in neighborhoods and communities, and we all must be law-abiding. Sometimes we think of law-abiding meaning simply don't rob and steal, but actually you're robbing and stealing when you have your property and you fail to maintain it in such a way that it steals the value of other folks' property values. It robs them of the peace and tranquility. So this is just as much about protection from crime and whatever as it is all these other things. And again, as I stated to you, the city of Memphis, with the help of the council, is being more aggressive than ever. We'll be putting $3 million additionally into blight in this coming year. This is why we're pushing so hard for that budget. So if any of you wish to come down and say, look, we got to keep this blight fight up, not only here. And if you'll notice, just a week or so ago, we were over in the Glenview side. But what we want to make is we're not just speaking on certain communities. If you got conditions like this, wherever you are, whoever you are, we're going to come and take care of it. We're dealing with a property here that was built in 1974 with 162 units, but you see what has happened now. It's a tragedy that it has come to this, but it reached the point of no return, and you'll see all over town, we don't simply go in and tear down. You give us a while and we'll come back with a redevelopment plan for this very property. We will work with the neighborhoods. I see Keith there with the Raleigh Community Council and Ms. Allman and others who are active in the council. We meet with them regularly, so we will be working on plans just as we did with the mall down here. It's easy to tear down, but it's just as important to build up. In case you're wondering what the price is, it's going to cost us $975,000 to tear this down. We have skilled crews. We keep the cost down. It will be much more. Von Gillum and his crew, some of whom are here today, and they're actually working already. This is all being done inside at $975,000. It'll take us roughly 3 to 4 months to get this done. None of this would have been possible if we did not have the support of the city council, and we wouldn't have had that support if the councilman from this district, my good friend of many years, even when I was county mayor, who's just been a leader, even before he was in public office, quite frankly. He didn't wait until he got into public office and get active and take care of his community. But none of this would have been possible without him. So I want him to have a word with you and share any comments that he might wish. Would you please receive him?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it. I want to thank the Raleigh Community Council, the community for coming out. As the mayor said, this is just another step in the rejuvenation of Raleigh and what we need to do to bring this community back. This is a wonderful jewel in our city. We are a diversified and strong community, but issues like this are exactly what we have to do as a government to take up head on and remove it from the community. So, you know, we're doing it with the mall, we're doing it here. This is a great day for Raleigh. It's a tremendous victory to be able to get this torn down and get started. My hat's off to Director Gillum and his staff. And again, we just want to continue to push this, and I will work as diligently as possible with the budget to keep that $3 million for this, because we've got to get this done all over the city, and I think that's important. It's all over the city. We are trying to put the community first. We continue to push for this. The the mayor, the council are working together with this. It's important for this city's success to make sure areas like this are taken care of. So again, my hat's off to Director Gillum. I want to thank the mayor and again all those from Raleigh for being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll now take any questions that any of you might have.
You talked about how you don't just tear it down, but you build it back up into the community. You got any examples?
Yes, if you look, particularly over in Whitehaven, I've forgotten the name of it, Graves Manor and all of those. If you look at right there on Poplar, across where Dixon Homes was stood, if you look going uptown north, was once Hurt Village. So again, it's not merely a matter of anybody can tear down. It's another thing to build up. Oh yeah. Hey, let him make all the noise he wants. But all of those are examples of where we have torn down, blighted situations and replaced them.
Mayor, can you talk about what was the problem? Because I know you've run into a lot of problems trying to tear these properties down, trying to find the owners and go.
Yes.
What was particularly the problem with this one and why it took a while?
Sure. Great question. Why did it take so long on this one? And I thought it was taking a long time on Wooddale, out on Winchester and Outland. And it is taking a long time. Y'all know how long we've been working on Wooddale out there on Winchester. Same thing here. These condos, individual owners, and under the law, we're required to get personal notice to every owner. And in many instances, they are far flung. But we have to get personal notice on them. It's not like an apartment development that's owned by one owner. We walk up to her or him and say, hey, your property is in bad shape, out of code, get it in shape or we're going to take it down. And sometimes it is just extremely difficult to get that notice. It's one of the reasons I want to work with the council in the next session and try to get some laws changed when it comes to condos, because we have to protect private property rights. But if you're out in LA or somewhere and you have no idea what's going on back here, and you're doing business under the name of some corporation and we can't find you, in many instances, I won't say with respect to these properties, they may be abroad somewhere. So we need to find a way that say once you register, if you buy property, and appoint an agent, and it ought to be an institutional agent like a bank or something, that you agree that they will be able to accept notice for you. But right now we cannot do that, particularly when the condo association goes on. As was the case at Wooddale, we couldn't go to the condo association and say, all right, look, it's out of compliance because it was broken, didn't have anything. So it's because of the laws in the state of Tennessee, which I would say need to be amended to make it easier in these situations.
This is a little different from some of the other situations, obviously, because you got a family here that still lives here. And,
That's the same thing at Wooddale, and the courts work with the families. We've done that in Wooddale. The courts are very lenient in giving them plenty of time to find places, and we'll continue to do the same.
no financial remuneration.
No.
Why is that?
Well, because of the fact that, again, when you look at the harm that's being caused here, it's gone through court, and plenty of time is given. And once the court rules under the Neighborhood Preservation Act, that's not required.
Because these folks didn't do anything, you know that.
Oh no, that's fine. That's correct. We're never claiming that. And this is why we've worked with the court to make sure that they had ample time.
What's going to go up in place here? What's going to be here?
We'll work with the council, community council. We'll work with the whole neighborhood. It's not proper for us to come in and say, by George, here's what you need out there.
Hey man, I got one question. That I stay up there. I stay in this apartment. One fact, me and my wife is the only someone that's left. And Judge Potter had told me and my wife, this is my daughter, he had asked them to buy a condo unit because these are considered row houses, and by consider row houses, and the firewall is on other end. So that means that he said that I am responsible making sure each unit, because no condemned unit can sit there, They went and bought a unit. I own the unit on the end. My mother left me that unit, so there's only one unit in question. So now he told me, he said, Mr. Johnson, you can have your unit. We won't turn your unit down. Your unit can stay here. Then he turned around and he said, but the problem you got here is once when we get ready for demolition, you got to leave. You got to go. Now, when we get through with demolition, you can come back to your home. Well, what is it to come back to? Then he told me, he said, now, your problem is when you come back, I want you to have me $70,000 to get the utility resource. I already had utility. When my mama bought it 15 years ago, I had utility. I had water.
Let me
Now
say
you-
this. This is why you just heard me say that we need to change these laws, and if you'll work with us, because Judge
Man, I'm
Pond has to
almost
follow
homeless.
the
How am I
law.
gonna work with you and I'm almost
Okay.
out door?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm almost out door.
Yes, I do have a question. We'll be happy to talk to this evening.
I'm talking with you right now. Any other questions?
Okay.
If not, thank you all for
Okay.
coming out.
Yeah, I remember me. I remember me. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me get it. You know, I'm just gonna tell you, you know, oh yeah, you know.